The world became a monster-dominated hell after a catastrophe. K, humanity's strongest hero, was the only hope against the creatures. In 2024, the world was dominated by monsters. Only humans with superpowers could fight, but the power difference was overwhelming. He was known as the S-Class Adapter, K. During a mission, K realized the information was wrong. I wasn't told there would be monsters of this scale remaining, he thought. He questioned over the communicator, "Did you deceive me?" On the other side, a man responded with disdain that errors in the information can happen. One of his men warned him, "Captain, watch out, there's another one there." K found himself cornered by another monster and cursed. Fallen and mortally wounded, K heard his traitor mock, "Dogs of the organization have no freedom." That was true. K woke up and was shocked to realize he had been reincarnated as a baby. He heard footsteps and saw someone approaching his crib. Alert, he wondered, who's there? Seeing the shadow over him, he feared it was someone from the organization. A woman smiled at him and said, "Iji-chan, you're awake. Mommy is here." He observed the peaceful environment, completely different from the world he came from. He noticed he could hear people's voices from outside, with no sign of monsters. He concluded that he had reincarnated into a timeline where the great catastrophe had not yet happened. He celebrated his newfound freedom, feeling that fate had not abandoned him. The calendar read the year 2020. He panicked when he realized he was before the apocalypse, but trapped in a baby's body. Frustrated, he tried to move, but his baby body wouldn't obey. He also discovered that he couldn't speak, only make baby sounds. Desperate, he thought, "I can't do anything like this." He watched the woman, his new mother, and pondered whether he should trust her. He decided he would use her to achieve his goals. However, he soon realized she was extremely clumsy when he saw her knock over several boxes. To his horror, she almost set the kitchen on fire while trying to cook. With her hair burnt, she offered him a bottle, saying the meal would be ready soon. He lamented the difficult future that awaited him with such an incapable mother. The doorbell rang, and the mother announced it was a package delivery. While the mother asked the delivery man to wait, Kay found the word package familiar and suspicious. He remembered that delivery men, because they had contact with many people, were vectors of infection. He realized the imminent danger. What if the delivery man was infected? The door opened, revealing that the delivery man was an infected monster who insisted they take the package. Kay prepared to fight, even in his baby body. He spotted his baby bottle as the only available weapon. He threw a pillow on the floor to cushion a possible fall. The monster attacked, destroying the crib, but Kay managed to dodge and land safely on the pillow. He used his past life experience to analyze the enemy, an amplification-type monster with brute strength but little agility. He noticed that the tentacles on the monster's head seemed even more dangerous. Knowing that monsters of his type are bad at making turns, Kay threw the bottle to make him trip. The monster missed the target and went through the window with his own momentum. He smiled, grateful for the hellish battles he fought in his past life. Suddenly, a tail sprouted from his back and darted out the window after the monster. The tail pierced and devoured the core of the fallen monster in the street. Kay looked at the tail, confused. He recognized the ability from his previous life and didn't understand why he still possessed it. He recognizes the ability from his previous life, the touty tail. He doesn't understand what's happening but considers himself lucky, as the touty tail can absorb monster cores and their abilities. He decides to test the ability. He uses his power to attack and damage the crib. He reflects that if he awakened as an S-Class at 7 years old in his past life, having the power now as a baby will make him legendary. He gets excited thinking, "My era has arrived." He decides it's time to leave, but gets startled by a noise. He despairs when he realizes his baby body has stopped moving. The crib he damaged begins to break. The crib collapses towards him, and he sees his mother running to save him. He has a flashback of his cruel master in his past life. He remembers the humiliation of being called a true dog of the organization. He wakes up in bed. He realizes he had lost consciousness. Seeing his mother nearby, he wonders if she was the one who saved him. He assesses that his current body can only handle using the power for 30 seconds and concludes that he needs to get stronger. He notices that his mother is crying. He reads her diary, which says, "I'm sorry, I almost hurt my precious treasure." He notices a bruise on her back and deduces that it was from when she protected him. He reaches out to her, who hugs him. He thinks she is different from the people in his past life. He knows that time is short, as the world will change drastically within a week. He knows that the next monster is near. Outside, a man is infected by a blue slime. The slime transforms into a slime monster. His mother appears with something covered by a cloth and asks, "What do you think this is?" She reveals a dog in a cage. He recognizes the dog, remembering it as being fierce. He is surprised to find the same dog in this life. He thinks his mother is a bit scatterbrained. He realizes that if he trains the dog correctly, it can serve as transportation and as a countermeasure against enemies. The mother is happy to see his reaction. He decides that the first step is to feed it to establish dominance. He offers food to the dog, declaring himself the master. He questions whether the dog, with its goofy face, understands the situation. He tries to assert himself, but the dog attacks him. Annoyed, he jumps to counterattack the dog. While they fight, the mother smiles, thinking they've already become friends. In the kitchen, the mother realizes that an ingredient is missing. While the mother searches for flour in the cupboard, the slime monster emerges from the sink behind her. The slime monster emerges from the sink while the mother, distracted, looks for flour in the cupboard, saying, "It must be around here." The dog notices the monster and rushes forward, barking to protect the mother. The dog jumps and pushes the mother into the cupboard, saving her from the slime monster's attack. Not understanding, the mother asks what's happening while the dog barks at the monster. Kei observes, annoyed, and analyzes the enemy, concluding that its liquid body makes it difficult to harm. The mother complains about hitting her head, completely oblivious to the battle happening behind her. The slime monster begins to envelop and suffocate the dog. Kei remembers the weakness of that type of monster. It is vulnerable to dryness. He realizes that his baby bottle with powdered milk might be useful. Kei opens the baby bottle and decides to use it against the monster. He throws the powdered milk, which spreads through the air towards the slime. The monster reacts violently to the powder, shrinking and writhing. Kei observes that, as expected, the monster panicked upon suddenly losing moisture. While the monster is weakened, Kei grabs a trash can to capture it. He manages to trap the small slime monster under the trash can and sits on top to secure it. Proud Kei thinks, "As expected of me." The mother, trying to get out of the cupboard, ends up knocking over a bag of flour. The flour covers the mother and the dog. Kei thinks, "Now we have another clumsy one." Covered in flour, the mother says she needs to wash immediately. Kei thinks about how lucky he was to capture the monster, as its slime can be used as a repellent for other creatures. Suddenly, the slime monster escapes from under the trash can. Kei is frustrated to see the monster escaping. Damn, it escaped. The dog quickly moves to intercept the monster. The dog and the slime face each other, ready for a confrontation. Kei prepares to try to capture the slime again with the trash can. The monster escapes through the window, flipping off Kei and the dog, who are furious. Kei is annoyed by the monster's audacity to invade his house and escape as if nothing had happened. Both Kei and the dog are furious with the monster. Kei thinks, acting all tough for a weakling. Kei grabs an umbrella as a weapon, mounts the dog and orders, "Chase it." He is determined not to let the monster escape. Mounted on the dog, he goes down the stairs thinking about the insect repellent he is about to lose. They leave the building at high speed. Kay spots the monster on top of a building near a girl. There it is, he thinks. The monster jumps off the building and attacks the girl, who screams in terror. Kay prepares to use his powers, knowing he needs to act fast. He activates his power, determined to prevent the place from becoming a bloodbath. He remembers the horrible scenes from his past life and knows he needs to avoid another one. The dog runs to the rescue, and Kay opens the umbrella, thinking he has seen enough scenes like this. At the last second, he uses the umbrella to block the slime's attack and protect the girl. The slime ricochets off the umbrella. Kay knows he has little power time and needs to act. The slime monster advances directly against Kay and the dog. Kay focuses his energy for a single blow and declares, "I'll end this in an instant." After defeating the monster, Kay looks at the scene and thinks, "Did I make it in time?" He realizes that the girl he saved saw him using his powers and worries. That girl saw me. Terrified by what she witnessed, the girl runs away. Kay watches the girl run away and concludes, "Well, that's understandable." Suddenly his tail emerges and advances towards the remains of the slime. He reacts in surprise, "Huh." The tail begins to absorb the slime from the defeated monster. Kay is shocked to realize that his tail can now absorb 2 abilities, something impossible in his previous life. He tests his new power by creating a ball of slime in his hand, marveling. He remembers that in his past life, he avoided changing abilities so as not to be caught by the organization, which ended up causing his downfall. He has an epiphany and concludes the reason for the change. "I see, it's because of age." He reflects that the power is stronger the younger the user awakens. He managed it at 10 years old, but all the younger ones died from the toxins of the monsters. He realizes that, being a baby with powers, his growth potential is incalculable. He smiles at the prospect of his future power. The dog takes him back home and Kay asks, "Are we there yet?" Upon arriving, he gets off the dog and prepares to act. He uses his new slime power. With the power of slime, he creates a barrier to protect the apartment from future monsters. The effort leaves him exhausted, and he realizes that his baby resistance is too low to use his powers. He faints on the floor, completely exhausted. Lying on the floor, he sees the dog approaching with a threatening look and wonders, what kind of look is that? The dog grabs him by the clothes with its mouth, and Kay panics, thinking, "You're not thinking of eating me, are you?" The mother comes out of the bath, feeling refreshed and oblivious to everything. She finds Kay on the floor with the dog on top of him. While she finds the scene cute, Kay struggles to breathe, thinking, he's so heavy." After recovering, Kay finishes sealing all the windows, gaps, and pipes of the apartment with his slime, believing that the house is now safe for a while. He analyzes his powers and discovers that he can now store up to 4 abilities at the same time. However, he knows that his usage limit is only 30 seconds, so he needs to prepare in other ways. He concludes that his next priority is to stock up on supplies. He remembers that the biggest cause of death in the apocalypse is not the monsters, but the hunger generated by the fight for resources. He knows that whoever controls the supplies can even get followers and guarantee their survival. He ponders how to get supplies, but as a baby, his options are extremely limited. Frustrated, he wonders if there is another way when his mother's phone rings on the table. He spots his mother's phone. He decides to check the device and discovers that it is not locked. He reads a group of messages where the neighbors discuss a strange virus that supposedly turns people into monsters. Seeing their ignorance about the gravity of the situation, he decides to intervene and warn them. He warns in the group that a great disaster is near and that they should stock up on supplies, but he is ignored and called delusional. He is furious at the incredulity of the people in the group. Discouraged, he laments that everyone will die, but suddenly receives a friend request on the phone. Curious to know who it could be, he accepts the request. A person named Hot offers in exchange for supplies. Kay recognizes the name and suspects it is someone from his past life in the organization. In a room full of monitors, the woman smiles, thinking that something interesting is about to happen. Hot, a woman in a monitoring room makes an offer on the phone. "I'll give you all the supplies you want." She specifies that she has everything, whether it's food, water, or armor. Kay recognizes the tone and the exorbitant price, confirming to himself, "No doubt, it's that Hot." Kay asks what happens if he doesn't negotiate, and Hot replies that she prefers they get along. He then asks for the location. Hot informs him that she left the information in a mailbox in the building where he lives. Kay reasons that, since the organization has not yet been formed, Hot must not be one of the leaders. He reflects on how dangerous she is and how she manipulates people using information. Kay is suspicious of the getting along proposal, concluding that she is using the information as bait for a trap. After resting and recovering his energy, he prepares to leave. He decides to use the stairs to avoid the elevator cameras, but realizes that his baby body can't climb them. He looks at the sleeping dog, considering it as an alternative. He tries to wake the dog by pulling its tail. The dog, annoyed, throws him away with its tail. Kay is surprised as he thought he had already tamed it. He then has the idea of using a treat to bribe the dog. The dog accepts the treat immediately. Kay thinks, "Just a dog, what a convenient guy." He mounts the dog, aiming to get the information before his mother wakes up. He rides the dog to the mailbox area. He locates the letter, but notices that there is a security camera watching the area. He confirms the presence of the camera. Kay knows he needs to maintain his anonymity, as Hot doesn't negotiate with people she doesn't know. He uses his powers to check the surroundings. He discovers 3 hidden cameras, in addition to the main one. Confident, Kay comes up with a plan to trick her. In her room, Hot waits anxiously, wondering, what kind of prey will this be? Suddenly she receives a message from Kay, "I got the information." Hot is shocked and wonders how he managed it. She checks the camera footage, but only sees the dog standing near the mailbox. It is revealed that Kay used the dog to hide in a blind spot he found. Hidden, he grabs the flyer with the information. He teases Hot with a message, "Give me 100 million yen and I'll tell you, ha ha ha." Hot is furious with his provocation. Enraged, she orders, "Spider, your turn, search this entire building." Her spider drone advances, but is immediately crushed by a slipper. Hot screams in despair, 30 million yen. Kay's mother appears and asks what he is doing, revealing that she was the one who stepped on the drone unintentionally. Kay panics at the sudden appearance of his mother. Hot laments, frustrated with the loss of her drone and wondering what happened. Suddenly she hears Kay's mother's voice through the drone's audio and is surprised. "You can talk." She picks up the headset, trying to communicate, "I can hear your voice." She insists, excited, "Say something, huh?" Hot realizes that the person on the other side is not listening to her, and that the communication is one-sided. Furious at not being able to identify her opponent, she wonders, "But who the hell are you?" Back at the apartment, Kay's mother scolds him for going out, saying it's dangerous. Kay sees a message from Hot on his cell phone, who gives up and offers the supplies for free. He thinks she has already surrendered. Kay observes his mother, who believes the dog opened the door by himself, and he realized. He understands that, in her version, he just left the apartment while half asleep. Because of the misunderstanding, the dog was tied up. Kay promises him, "Don't worry, I'll save you later." Kay reads Hot's information. A supermarket is going to open, and she will deliver the stock she stole from others to him. He finds her attitude too generous to be true. Kay left a supermarket flyer on the table, but regrets that his mother hasn't noticed it yet. He thinks he can't just tell her about the end of the world. Kay's mother comments that there are only 5 days of milk left. Kay sees this as the perfect opportunity for his plan. After Kay spills the milk, his mother cleans up the mess and finally finds the flyer, deciding she's going to check out the store. Kay celebrates his success. The next day, the mother takes Kay to the supermarket, commenting on the good weather, while Kay is visibly annoyed with the situation. A security guard stops them at the entrance to the supermarket. The guard warns them not to leave the house because of an infectious disease. The guard insists that they go back home, as he is just following orders. Suddenly the guard notices, terrified, a monster appearing behind him. The monster crushes the guard's head in front of Kay and his mother. The monster thinks to himself, "It's protein." Kay analyzes the enemy and concludes that it is a multiplier-type monster, very strong. He knows that if he doesn't use his power, his mother will die. Kay's mother quickly takes him out of the cart to run away. She runs with him in her arms, yelling for him to hold on. Kay wonders if she's planning to escape. The monster advances at high speed. Kay notes that he is much faster than a human. Kay spots a fire extinguisher on the wall and has an idea. He decides to break the extinguisher box to create a distraction. Using his power, he breaks the glass, causing the extinguisher to explode and create a cloud of smoke. The monster is disoriented by the sudden smoke. Kay takes advantage of the distraction to jump out of his mother's arms and attack the monster with a punch. The monster is thrown away by the impact of the blow. Kay lands on the ground with his powers activated in the middle of the smoke. He knows he only has 30 seconds to defeat the monster before the smoke dissipates. Kay observes his mother passed out in the middle of the smoke and assesses the situation. He confirms that she is unconscious due to the shock of the previous attack. He knows that the monster's weak point is its head, and that a single, well-aimed blow is enough. However, he comes across a problem. He realizes that, despite his attack, the monster remains completely unharmed. Kay prepares to fight with full force. The monster advances to attack. Kay understands that there will be no shortcuts and prepares for the monster's imminent blow. The monster smashes the ground, but Kay manages to dodge in time. Kay counterattacks, launching strands of energy from his fingers. The threads hit and cut the monster's body. He lands after the attack, preparing for the next move. With his eyes glowing with power, he focuses on the battle. The monster is now bleeding due to the wounds from the threads. Confident, Kay thinks to himself that he will be the winner of the fight. He advances at high speed to attack the monster again. Using his small body, he agilely dodges the enemy's blows. He uses his threads to tie up the monster, restricting its movements. Kay pulls the threads hard, cutting off the monster's head. The monster thrashes, unable to hit the small, fast target. Kay realizes that the creature cannot use its full strength because of his speed. He continues to move quickly, comparing the fight to a cat trying to catch a mouse. Kay reflects that all the experience from his past life is paying off now. He believes he only needs one more hit to finish off the monster. Suddenly, the monster tears a thorn from its back and throws it at Kay. The surprise attack grazes Kay, cutting his forehead. He recoils, cursing the monster for still having tricks up its sleeve. Injured, Kay ponders whether a surprise attack would be the best strategy. He has a sudden and alarming realization. He sees that his mother has woken up and is calling for him, which panics him. The mother, disoriented, looks around and asks where she is. She then comes face to face with the gigantic monster. She is paralyzed with terror, unable to believe what she sees. Kay yells for her to run away, warning that she doesn't stand a chance. Instead of running, she pulls out a stun gun and shoots the monster, yelling for it to give back her son. From above, Kay realizes that her action has created the opportunity he needed. He takes advantage of the distraction and jumps, declaring now is the time. The monster is momentarily paralyzed by the electric shock. Recovering, the monster attacks Kay's mother, throwing her away. As his mother falls, Kay descends from the heavens, preparing a devastating kick. Determined, he aims for the monster's head to end the fight. The monster looks up in shock, but it's too late. Kei's kick hits the monster's head with full force, killing it instantly. After landing, Kei approaches his mother, who is again unconscious on the ground. He looks at her and thinks that, if it weren't for her help, he would be in serious trouble. He holds her hand, recognizing that she risked her own life to protect him, but concludes that she still needs a lot of training. Completely exhausted from using his powers, Kei faints next to her. Kei wakes up and comes across an unknown man changing his diaper. Alarmed, he wonders, who is this? As an instinct of self-defense, he urinates on the man's face. Kei's mother quickly apologizes to the man, hoping she hasn't offended him. She confirms that the man is the dog's former owner. The man invites them to go out in search of supplies, and Kei's mother accepts the offer. Kei wonders how his mother can act normal, since she definitely saw the monster that attacked them. He notices that her hair is wet, deducing that she has been crying in secret. Kei imagines his mother crying secretly while he slept. The man tells them to prepare to go out to stock up on supplies, and Kei's mother agrees. Kei thinks that stocking up on supplies with the help of other people isn't a bad idea. He remembers that he hasn't recovered the crystal core from the monster he defeated yet and gets out of the cart. He finds the remains of the monster. Kei uses his tail to absorb the core, immediately gaining the monster's power. He understands that the new ability he acquired is a hardening power. Satisfied, Kei realizes that he can now use his tail as a shield. Kei turns around when he hears a noise. He overhears the man on the phone saying that he and his mother are a burden. On the phone, the man reveals his plan to use them as bait. Kei realizes that he is crazy. The man tells his accomplice to get another vehicle and more supplies. Kei accidentally makes a noise and the man turns sharply, asking, "Who's there?" Kei realizes that he knocked over a shard of glass, revealing his presence. The man finds him and is surprised to see that it was just a baby. He lowers his guard and pats Kei on the head. The man says on the phone that he doesn't care if the baby heard, as killing him wouldn't be a problem. Kei is terrified to realize that the man is completely crazy. In the car, Kei's mother straps him into the car seat. He is visibly annoyed. Kei is shocked to see that the crazy man is the driver of the car, which is full of other residents. His mother offers snacks to the other passengers. The driver announces that they are leaving and waves to a person in the complex. The man outside gives an OK sign. The car and a truck leave the complex. Kei reflects that people act normally as a form of self-defense, trying to hide their fear. Kei's mother, Ling Yinggu from room 502, offers sandwiches to the others. Denku, a resident of room 103, asks if he can have one too. She offers him the box of snacks. Ling Yinggu hands a sandwich to Denku. Also in the car is Ryu Kaisen, a resident of room 104. Kei's mother remembers that she needed to bring him because he acts strangely when he is alone. She sighs as she thinks about the chaos her son has caused in recent days. Chin Solar from room 504 is also in the car. The driver comments that Kei's mother is useful, as she took down a monster with her shock weapon, and that they also have the dog in the truck. Kei scoffs at the idea of his mother being useful. The driver, eating, says that there shouldn't be any monsters around. Suddenly, he is shocked by something he sees on the road. A woman runs desperately down the empty street. The wall of a building explodes, and a monster's hand reaches out towards the woman. The woman screams in terror as she is surrounded and attacked by several monsters. The passengers in the car react with horror to the scene. Everyone, including Kei, stares in shock at the monster's attack. The driver accelerates and yells for everyone to hold on. On the street, they see a woman being attacked by monsters and asking for help. Inside the car, Ryu Kaisen complains about how hectic the day is. Kei looks ahead and realizes they are surrounded by insectoid monsters. Kei identifies them as parasite manipulators who transform humans into cyborgs and are dangerous in groups. He thinks the monsters keep multiplying and they need to escape immediately. The driver panics and curses about being surrounded. A monster tries to grab the driver, who yells for them to abandon the car. Kei assesses the situation, thinking he needs to get them away so he can act. Another woman is attacked on the street, screaming for help. Ryukaisen begs them to save her. What are you waiting for? Save her. Denku questions her, should we save her? Kei thinks to himself that she would only be a burden. Denku argues that it's better to leave her, as she wouldn't be useful in a fight. Chin Solar interrupts, explaining that the woman has already been infected, as she has the same wound as the monsters on her neck. Denku thinks the old man is probably useless in a battle. The driver decides to leave so they aren't all killed. The driver reflects that their own survival is what matters. Despite seeming like a coward, Denku offers to fight. I will. He tries to encourage himself, saying he's not afraid, but his hesitation betrays him as unreliable. Kei's mother suggests they also get a weapon. Suddenly, a thorn pierces the glass and impales Denku in the chest. Shocked, he looks at the wound and murmurs, huh. The attack throws Denku out of the car. A monster lands on the roof of the vehicle. Ryukaisen screams in terror. The parasite monster invades the car and attacks Ryukaisen. Then the monster turns to attack Kei's mother. Kei realizes he has no choice but to act. With his powers, he deflects the attack aimed at his mother. He uses his ability to overheat the monster's weapon. The monster ignores Kei and kills Chin Solar. Before dying, Chin Solar asks the monster if he is the boss, which surprises Kei. Unexpectedly, Chin Solar manages to hold off the monster's attack. He retaliates, stabbing the monster several times. Even mortally wounded, Chin Solar continues to fight. He breaks the monster's sharp limb with his bare hands. Using the broken limb as a club, he beats the monster out of the car. After saving the group, Chin Solar faints. Kei looks at him impressed and thinks he's a total powerhouse. Kei observes the fallen monster and realizes the danger. Wait, it's not over yet. Kei observes the old, injured man, thinking he doesn't know who he is. He concludes that the old man's attack wasn't enough to kill the monster. The monster, although injured, gets up, ready to fight again. Kei decides he has no choice but to intervene in the fight. The old man continues to fight, even while impaled by the monster. He manages to block another blow from the monster, holding on tight. The old man realizes that this monster is resilient and won't die easily. Kei has an epiphany, recognizing that the old man belongs to a special combat division. The old man prepares for one last effort. He advances into the monster's range and delivers a final blow, yelling to crush its soul. The attack is successful, and the monster explodes into pieces. Kei, in his mother's arms, analyzes the old man's refined battle technique. He finally understands that old man was from the military. Kei reflects on the relationship between the military and the organization from his past life. He remembers soldiers fighting against monsters. Kei recalls that the Special Combat Division was the elite unit and that they underwent special training. Kei starts thinking about how he can use the old man to his advantage. He considers his options, such as blackmailing him or pretending. He decides that the best tactic is to latch onto the old man and force him to protect them. To his surprise, the old man simply pats him on the head. The old man addresses Kei's mother, asking her and the child to stay close to him for protection. He modestly warns them not to expect too much from him. The old man thanks Kei, saying that the baby's crying saved him, as it alerted him to the danger. Offended by being called a fool, Kei bites the old man's finger. Kei thinks that the old man's personality will be his downfall, but decides to accept his help for now. They arrive at their destination, a warehouse with the gate closed. The The driver wonders if it's closed because it's a day off. Kay suspects that Hot, the informant, probably closed the gate. Suddenly the gate opens. The driver says he asked a friend to open it and that they should thank him later. Kay is suspicious of the driver's story. The driver reads a message from Hot that confirms she saw the car and opened the gate, revealing that the two know each other. Kay realizes that the driver is involved with the informant. Inside the warehouse, Kay is in a shopping cart, resigned to the situation. His mother is impressed by the size of the place, and Kay confirms that they have arrived at their destination. Kay observes the huge, empty warehouse. He sees the old man already collecting supplies with specialized equipment. Kay realizes that the driver has disappeared. His mother notices the absence of employees at the location. An unknown man appears and announces that everything in the store has already been purchased by his organization. A man tells the dog accompanying Kay and his mother to shut up. Kay recognizes the lotus mark tattooed on the man's arm. The man declares that the place and supplies are the property of the Eastern Lotus Society. He pulls out a gun and threatens the old man, telling him not to move. Kay realizes that they are the precursors to the organization from his past life. He understands that the group sensed the approaching disaster and started stockpiling supplies early. Kay recognizes the driver who brought them there among the group members. The old man realizes that they have been surrounded. Upon hearing the name Eastern Lotus Society, the old man decides to act. The old man throws the handle of a tool against a panel on the wall. The handle hits the control panel, which sparks. As a metal structure begins to collapse, the old man shouts for everyone to run. The group leader is puzzled by the old man's action. The old man realizes that the situation is bad. The leader presses a remote control, triggering a trap that knocks boxes onto the driver. A vehicle advances over the spot where the driver fell. The driver is lying injured on the ground. The old man points a gun at the head of the injured driver. The group leader threatens him, "Move and you're dead." Kay's mother points a gun at the leader and questions him about his actions. He responds with disdain, "Are you serious?" She threatens him, asking if he will still call himself innocent if she shoots. The leader reveals that he is holding the old man hostage, with a gun to his head. The leader insults her, saying that she is too stupid to talk to. In a flashback, the driver explains that, when going to collect a debt, he found the owner dead. He reflects on the man's death. He then decides to take the deceased's dog Reckon with him. Along with a partner, he takes advantage of the situation to take the supplies and the dog. He has the idea to leave the dog with Kay's mother. Back in the present, the leader exposes that Kay's mother took in a dog that was not hers, implying that she knew about the owner's death. The leader raises a burning flare, shouting that there are not enough supplies to share. The old man reacts with a blow, starting the action. The Lotus Society members surround the group in the warehouse. The leader points a gun and says, "Weaklings like you should just die," Kay retorts mentally, questioning their cruelty. A flashback shows the leader mocking a starving woman. In the vision, armed men surround the dog. Suddenly, a slime monster appears in front of Kay's cart. The slime monster releases an electric shock, causing a flash. In the confusion, voices shout not to shoot and to turn on the lights. A psychic battle begins between Kay and the old man, who thinks, "Damn it." Kay's aura dominates the old man's in the mental confrontation. In the vision, the old man materializes a weapon. The vision shows the old man knocking out an enemy while Kay watches. Kay and the old man are shocked by the mental connection. Kay panics when he realizes he's been discovered. "They saw me." He thinks this is bad. Kay fears being captured for experiments, remembering the danger he would be in if they discovered a compatible baby. A shot echoes in their minds. The old man feels Kay's power and wonders, is this child a monster? The vision shows the old man attacking Kay. The Lotus Society leader observes the old man's strange behavior and finds him suspicious. The old man holds a shiny object. Back in reality, Kei hides and thinks about turning off the old man's lantern, but hesitates. Annoyed, Kei decides to act in another way. A sudden noise startles Kei. The old man, Kei's mother, and the dog turn around, surprised by what they see. A small slime monster appears and someone shouts, "A monster!" The Lotus Society men illuminate the creature and identify it as a slime. Kei realizes that everyone's attention is on the monster, which gives him an opportunity. He smiles, ready to execute his plan. From his cart, Kei uses his powers discreetly. The slime approaches the old man from behind. The old man turns around, ready for combat. The slime transforms into a copy of the old man, who is shocked. "It turned into me." The slime clone attacks the real old man. The clone attacks the society members, who shout for him to stop. The real old man stares at the scene, furious. One of the men realizes that the monster is creating a clone and complains, "What a nuisance." The old man stares at the mud monster that copied his appearance. Kei's mother looks at the creature and comments, "That thing from before." Kei starts crying loudly, thinking, "Right, this way I can disguise it perfectly." The old man attacks his mud clone. The old man reflects that a mud-type monster shouldn't behave like that. While the clone regenerates, the old man grumbles, "Ha, this is going to be a pain in the ass." The old man kicks a briefcase on the floor, which opens, revealing an arsenal of weapons. Another mud monster, now in the form of Kei's mother, attacks her. She discovers that it is weak against electricity and attacks it with a stun gun. The old man, now armed, spots the Lotus Society leader and says, "Tusk, are you still here?" The Lotus Society leader appears behind Kei's mother. While the leader grabs his mother, Kei thinks, "Not bad, old man." The old man tells Kei's mother to disguise the situation somehow. Everyone is shocked to see that the Lotus Society leader survived the explosion, wondering, "Alive?" Kei notices that the old man's attack caused some damage. The injured leader is determined not to let the creature escape. Kei decides that he himself will kill the leader. The old man strikes the leader with his weapon. The leader dodges and grabs Kei from the shopping cart. The leader takes Kei hostage, pointing a gun at him and shouting, "Drop your weapons." Kei, as a hostage, smiles maliciously and thinks, "This is convenient." The leader repeats the threat, "Throw away your weapons or I'll kill this child." After a signal from the old man, the mud that Kei controls envelops the leader's arm. The leader, surprised, asks, "What are you?" while pulling the pin on a grenade. The grenade explodes. From the remains of the explosion, Kei recovers a first-class crystal core. One of the society members flees with the mud baby, mistaking it for Kei. The injured leader curses the monster, "Tusk, so persistent, just die already." The old man approaches the defeated leader. More society members appear and Kei thinks, there are still more of them. The injured leader orders his men, "Quick, prepare the car, we're leaving." Kei, furious, thinks, "Lies, so it was that bastard all along." He remembers seeing a masked man with the word, "Lie," tattooed on his neck. The group leader lifts Kei into the air. The old man, surprised, asks, "What is this?" Suddenly, a red dust envelops and knocks down the Lotus Society men. Kei recognizes the substance. This is crimson dust. He thinks the phenomenon is too dangerous because any human who touches the dust either dies instantly or turns into a monster. The fallen men turn into monsters and stand up in front of the leader, who is still holding Kei. One of the monsters moves forward to attack. The leader curses the situation and dodges the attack. He dodges sharply, swinging Kei in the process. Kei is thrown into the air by the maneuver. As Kei falls, the leader takes advantage of the distraction to flee through the door. As he falls, Kei absorbs the crystal core he had recovered. The power of the crystal envelops him, initiating a transformation. He transforms and declares, "This is my true power now." Fully transformed, he commands his power to break free. He confronts the monster that was attacking him. With a blow of dark energy, he cuts the monster in half. He notes that the attack didn't seem to have been physical. A larger, more armored monster emerges, absorbing the remains of the others. The armored monster fires a beam of energy. Kei blocks the attack with a barrier of shadows. He counterattacks with an energy projectile that knocks down the monster. Kei uses his shadow tentacles to trap the monster. The tentacles contract tightly around the creature. The monster is crushed and explodes violently. The leader of the Lotus Society who was fleeing looks back shocked and asks, "Who the hell are you?" Kei in his new form asks ironically, "Didn't you see the transformation before, right?" He stares at the leader and warns, "The next one is you." The society leader is terrified by the threat. Kei displays a predatory and menacing smile. He advances against the leader and swears, "I'm going to make you pay for what you owe from the past life." Kei in his dark form dives to attack the Lotus Society leader. The leader reacts quickly, pointing a weapon at Kei. He shoots. Kei perceives the projectile in slow motion and thinks, "So slow." He reflects this is a fake body, but his abilities are on another level compared to a baby's. The bullet falls harmlessly to the ground. Kei thinks he needs to investigate the limits of his dark shadow power. Shocked, the leader asks, "A monster?" Kei grabs the leader's face with his dark hand. He violently smashes him against the ground. The Lotus Society leader lies on the ground, defeated and bloody. Kei stands over his fallen enemy. Kei coldly declares, "This is the end." The leader coughs up blood, severely injured. He can barely support himself, struggling to get up. The mental image of Kei as a baby shows his intense anger. Desperate, the leader pulls out a syringe with a red liquid. He injects the substance into his own neck. The leader's body explodes into a mass of flesh, initiating a monstrous transformation. Kei observes and recognizes the substance, a drug that creates monsters with consciousness. Could it be? Kei's consciousness as a baby reacts with surprise. A monstrous core forms. Seeing the creature forming, Kei wonders, why this guy? Kei stares at the giant monster the leader has become. The monster attacks Kei with a devastating blow. Kei dodges the attack. Kei attacks the monster but complains about its resistance. "It's too tough." The monster counterattacks with a sweeping blow, forcing Kei to retreat. Kei continues to dodge the monster's powerful attacks. The monster manages to impale Kei, who belatedly realizes the trap. This guy, from the beginning, it was a trap. Wounded, Kei taunts the monster, "You still haven't killed me enough, huh?" Kei prepares for a new assault against the monster's core. Kei stands on the rubble, facing the monster, and thinks about his past life. In his mind, Kei reaffirms his determination. "I won't let myself be killed twice." Suddenly, an explosion hits the monster. Kei looks to the side, surprised by the intervention. The old man appears, holding a grenade launcher. The old man aims with a serious expression. He loads a special ammunition and thinks, "I'll use what's left of the Lotus Society and put it to good use." He shoots. The special projectile causes great damage to the monster. Kei observes the result of the attack, still surprised. Kei breaks into a wide, predatory smile, satisfied with the unexpected help. A blindfolded woman with a number 10 badge warns, "There will be catastrophes." She continues, "Your true nature, it's a small talisman." The Lotus Society leader holds a syringe and asks, "What is my true nature?" In a flashback, he injects the substance into himself. He reflects, "I was born to use the weaknesses of others." In another flashback, Kei, as a child, says to a woman, "Auntie, your husband is cheating on you, isn't he?" The woman reacts in shock, denying it. The child points to her husband on the phone and insists, "It's true, that's your husband, right?" He teases her, "Looks like an ugly pig sleeping like this." Enraged, the woman attacks her husband, shouting, "You're cheating on me." The husband replies, "You crazy woman, I'm going to divorce you." The woman falls to the ground, desolate, and says, "I know I'm ugly." The child approaches her and offers, "I'll show you a better place." He invites her to a place where no one will mistreat you. The narration explains, "I used my ability to exploit people's hearts and drained everything from them." His true nature is revealed, a con man who manipulates people, level 4 monster, cheat, lie. Kay understands that attacking blindly won't work. The monster Lie declares, "I will win in the end." The monster attacks Kay by surprise. The old man shoots again with his heavy gun. The monster feels the attack and shouts, "Again." The monster gets angry and counterattacks, "Damn old man, just die already." The old man throws himself to protect himself from the explosion. He shoots once more at the monster. Enraged, the monster shouts, "Die," as he prepares another attack. The monster stops suddenly and says, "Wait." Kay emerges from the rubble, staring at what's left of the monster, and says, "You." The monster curses the situation, "Damn." Kay approaches his defeated enemy. Kay describes him, an insect that deceives people. Kay completes angrily, "Is not special." Kay prepares a final blow against the monster's core. The monster in panic shouts, "He's using that again." The monster attacks desperately, shouting, "Impossible, just die," but Kay's blow hits him. Kay says, "Thanks to you, I remembered the taste of death." Kay delivers the final attack, shouting, "Eat my full power." The monster is destroyed by the attack. The monster Lie begins to dissolve and says weakly, "You." Kay walks towards his defeated enemy. Kay stops in front of Lie and asks, "Is it over?" Kay displays a confident smile. Kay reflects the next dust storm will arrive in 2 hours. It will be the first that humanity will face. Lie tries to argue, "Wait," but Kay interrupts him, saying, "I'm not interested in your last words." Kay attacks Lie, who screams, "Damn." The old man watches the fight and thinks, "This is." The old man thinks, impressed with Kay's resistance. He's still fighting, even with all these injuries. Kay maintains a determined expression, despite the damage. Kay prepares for a new attack, thinking, "Now." A woman suddenly appears, calling, "Hey Chan." Kay turns around, surprised to see her, and says, "You're here." The woman launches a devastating fire attack. Kay protects himself amidst the smoke and debris. Kay thinks, annoyed, "This is going to be annoying." A figure steps on the ground and gives a loud laugh, "Fuhaha." The monster Lie recomposes himself and taunts, "It's a pity, but you can't." Kay stares at Lie angrily. Lie reveals his ability, "I can read your mind, did you know?" He continues the explanation, "Your thoughts, your every move." Lie concludes, "I can see them all with these eyes," and challenges him, "One attack, that's all you have, right?" Kay reacts with frustration, exclaiming, "Damn." The old man aims his weapon, ready to intervene. The old man shoots Lie. Kay's consciousness as a baby shows his irritation with the course of the battle. Lie laughs and flees at high speed. While running, Lie wonders what he should be here. He realizes that the old man has disappeared and gets scared. He's not. Lie sees a grenade on the ground, left by the old man, and panics. The grenade explodes violently. Kay advances through the smoke of the explosion. Kay grabs Lie, who screams in pain. Kay gives a thumbs up and says, "Wait." He looks around and asks, "Where is?" The old man appears and attacks Lie with knives while Lie reacts, "You." The old man advances to finish the attack, shouting, "Die." Lie asks, confused, "My name?" Kay, observing, offers, "Wanna know your future?" Lie questions, "What?" The old man shoots Lie at point-blank range. The old man puts the gun to Lie and says, "You're smart." Lie feels a mental attack and wonders, what is this?" Kay smiles maliciously and says, "This is your future." Lie is tormented by a vision and screams, "This is my future. Stop, I hate it." The vision shows Lai being humiliated and defeated. Lai recoils, terrified by the vision. It can't be. The old man takes advantage of the distraction and lands a punch on Lai, who thinks, "My." A final massive attack disintegrates Lai. The old man is thrown back by the force of the impact. Looking at Lai's remains, Kei comments, "Who cares about the future?" Kei gives a victorious smile. Lai's head flies through the air as he thinks, "This." In shock, Lai glimpses Kei's memories. He sees the monster Kei has become, along with other images from his past. Lai's head falls to the ground, near Kei and the old man. Horrified, Lai stares at the monstrous form Kei has taken. Kei and the old man watch the decapitated head on the ground. The old man looks at Kei and exclaims, "I see." Lai's head shouts, "So that's what they meant." He continues to shout about the baby. The old man asks, "Baby," and Lai's head reveals, "You are the egg of calamity." Kei, in his mind, is shocked. Lai warns that the organization will hunt Kei. A shot silences him. Kei and the old man turn around, surprised by the shot. Smoke comes out of the tip of a newly fired gun. An armored vehicle arrives at the scene. A man wearing a gas mask gets out of the vehicle. The newcomer states, "You will become your own enemy." The old man is on alert while Kei's consciousness thinks, "It's bad if they're here." The man addresses the old man as Professor. He removes his gas mask. Lion's face is revealed with a smile. A monster suddenly appears behind Lion. Without even turning around, Lion annihilates the monster instantly. Lion smiles satisfied. Kei observes the scene hidden. Kei seems worried about the arrival of the military. The old man asks Lion why he is there. Lion takes his cell phone out of his pocket. He shows the cell phone, saying that the old man's granddaughter is safe. Lion displays a photo of the granddaughter and states that the military is protecting her. The old man listens in silence. Kei realizes that the old man is, in fact, a high-ranking commander in the army. Lion asks if the old man wants to confirm his granddaughter's safety. The old man agrees to leave with Lion. Kei tries to sneak away, but his movement catches their attention. Kei quickly reverts to his baby form and falls to the ground. Lion turns around surprised and says, "Oh." Kei, as a baby, panics at being discovered. Lion approaches, points his gun at Kei and comments, "Ah, it's a child." He looks at the baby suspiciously. Lion points the gun and asks, "Was it you?" Kei is terrified with the gun pointed at his head. The old man intervenes and stops Lion. He explains the situation to Lion, who replies, "Is that so?" The old man picks up Kei, who starts crying. Lion says, "Ah, you did well, what a good child." The old man whispers to Kei to keep pretending. As Kei cries, Lion comments, "You two seem to get along, Professor." The old man walks away with Kei in his arms, accompanied by Lion. Kei suddenly stops crying and thinks, "Wait." He notices a suspicious smile on Lion's face. Kei has a bad feeling and wonders, did I see him in the organization? A guard dismisses a nurse who has just put Kei in a medical-looking crib. Kei wakes up and his first thought is, "Where's the old man?" He looks around and sees himself in a huge nursery full of children and wonders, more importantly, what is this place? A white-haired man approaches and says, "Oh, you're awake," as Kei starts to cry. The man smiles and comments, "Hee hee, so full of energy." He warns him, "Don't wake everyone up, okay?" Using a psychic power, the man says, "So, sleep a little more." Kei closes his eyes, pretending to have fallen asleep with the attack. Kei identifies him and thought, "If my memory serves me right, he's a key figure in the organization, code-named Tank." He remembers Tank's ability. He can make the blood inside a body explode to attack. Kei reveals to himself that he is not really sleeping. He thinks, "What's going on? This guy tried to kill me. He's someone to keep an eye on." Kei reflects that Tank's ability awakened very quickly, since the Crimson Lotus has barely started. The man smiles and announces that it's almost time for the Inspection, be a good little boy and stay quiet, he says, preparing another psychic attack. Kei continues to pretend to sleep soundly. Tank walks away satisfied and says, this is going to be fun. As soon as he turns around, Kei opens his eyes, revealing the farce. Kei sits up and thinks, here we go. He reflects on his abilities, divine absorption and mental resistance, with the barrier ability absorbed. I calculated so that the moment my blood flow slowed down, fake blood would be automatically absorbed. Kei observes the other children and wonders, why are there only children here? Are they all calamity eggs? He remembers hearing the term in his past life, when the military was annihilated by the organization. He deduces that the old man doesn't fully trust Lion. Kei wonders what the inspection is. An image of a woman and a dog comes to his mind. He focuses, no, I don't have time to worry about others. I need to think of an escape plan first. Kei tries to activate his powers by shouting, hey. He realizes that his powers are not working. He remembers it's no use. The crystal core I picked up before fused everything to create the black shadow. He concludes that when the cores fuse, the abilities disappear. He assesses that the divine barrier protects him from mental attacks, and the black shadow is powerful, but it's not a wise choice until I find out their intentions. I can't use my power recklessly. He is startled to see a thick strand of hair coming out of a nearby crib. He sees a baby whose hair grows like roots and realizes, this baby, a compatible one. Shocked, he looks around. He thinks impossible. He sees other babies manifesting powers and wonders if they are all compatible. The strand of hair grabs his ankle and pulls him out of the crib. He shouts, whoa. Hanging and unable to break free, he considers using his power. Suddenly, a foot steps on the strand of hair, pinning it to the ground. A hooded figure grabs the hair with a hand wrapped in dark energy and destroys it. Kei falls to the ground with the impact. He looks up, grumbling in pain. A young woman stares at him and says coldly, you should have stayed asleep. Behave yourself, newbie. An observation is made about the 5-year-old. She already masters her ability. The girl looks at Kei with a shocked expression. Scared, the girl runs towards a door. Kei watches the escape and wonders, escaped. Nurses mobilize for an inspection, receiving the order to pick up all the children. Kei throws himself on the ground, pretending to sleep to deceive the nurses. A nurse picks him up while he continues the charade. The nurses carry all the children out of the nursery. The children are left in a large dark room, under the gaze of a figure in a lit opening. Kei senses the presence of the organization and suspects. They will be forced to fight to the death. The children are left alone in the darkness of the arena. Kei stares at Lion in the opening and starts crying loudly, WAH. A giant reptilian monster falls into the arena, and a child screams in terror. Kei stares at the monster, understanding the situation. The monster is trapped by a heavy shackle on its leg. Kei analyzes the situation. The monster thrashes against the chains that bind it. Kei realizes that the chains are probably temporary, while the girl positions herself to protect the other children. The girl runs to help another baby. She takes the baby to the protected group, passing by the monster. The girl looks up towards Lion. Kei watches the girl protecting the others. Kei understands the plan. They are making babies fight monsters to awaken their abilities. He concludes, this is the organization's hound dog plan. Kei stares at Lion angrily, identifying him as his next enemy after Lai. From above, Lion smiles and thinks, for that teacher to do such an act, don't disappoint me, okay? Someone presses a button starting the test. Shall we begin? The monster's chains break, and it advances against Kei. The monster attacks Kei with its claws, who thinks, Tusk, here they come. Kei is hit and thrown, grumbling, damn. He worries about the other children. I can defeat a second-class monster, but what about the others? Are they okay? The other children cower in fear. The monster changes targets and Kei panics. Oh no. The monster advances towards the group of children. Kei notes the target has changed. When the monster attacks with its tail, vines with thorns emerge from the ground to protect the children. The monster's tail attack is blocked by the vines. The vines wrap around and immobilize the monster's tail. Kei gives a thumbs up, seeing that one of the boys has activated his ability. Lion comments impressed, "Vine ability not bad for a first class." Lion then focuses on Kei thinking, but he's probably quite the ability user too. He continues his reflection. Latent potential power is something that is released under extreme conditions. The monster rages, explodes with energy, and breaks free from the vines. Kei realizes the danger. This is bad. Kei assesses that the Vine Boy's power is not enough to defeat the enraged monster, which is approaching a higher class. He decides to intervene thinking, "I have no choice, I'll do it myself." Kei summons his dark shadow power and jumps towards the monster. He materializes in front of the creature and projects a divine barrier to protect himself. The monster collides violently against the barrier. Kei maintains the barrier and plans to attack the monster's weak point while hidden by the vines. He prepares to attack, exclaiming, "Here I go." Unexpectedly, sand rises from the ground and unbalances the monster. Kei wonders where it came from. Kei believes he hasn't been noticed and relaxes for a moment. The monster's form changes into a humanoid figure, which grabs him from behind. Surprised, Kei shouts, "What?" as he is thrown into a dark abyss. As he falls, a robotic appendage emerges from the darkness. The appendage wraps around his body, stopping his fall. He is suspended in the air, caught by the mechanism. Kei realizes that the arachnid robot is not HOTS, but rather a security unit from Project Hound. The robot places him on a rocky platform on the wall of the abyss. From a control room, Lion observes Kei through a large monitor. A soldier asks if they should execute the project. Lion looks at a tied-up woman and affirms that his plan is perfect. Lion reflects that if Kei is the masterpiece, he wouldn't be a normal child. Kei laughs hysterically, questioning if the only way to survive is to obey the organization again, as in his past life. He approaches the edge of the platform. He rejects the idea of submitting, thinking, "No." With a maniacal smile, Kei decides that he prefers to die than to be the organization's dog again. He throws himself into the abyss, shouting, "UWAA." A projectile fired by the security robot passes him during the fall. The monster that attacked him is destroyed by an impact. Kei continues falling into the darkness. In the control room, a soldier reports that the security robot failed. The soldier asks Colonel Lion, "Should we rescue the specimen?" Lion orders that the rescue is not necessary so as not to wake up the big guy in the processing plant. The soldier walks away after confirming the order. At the bottom of the abyss, Kei's feet touch the ground. In the depths of the abyss, a sphere of black and blue energy condenses, forming a human silhouette. Kei emerges in his shadow-black form, an adult and powerful body. He looks around surprised and asks, "What is this?" He observes the vast cave full of rubble and comments, "It's like a landfill." Kei analyzes the desolate environment. He spots a large metal door and thinks, "An exit, if I go out there." Dark monsters begin to rise from the rubble, he concludes, but it can't be that simple. Kei watches the approaching monsters and questions, "Am?" He notices that the monsters are in tatters and decides, "Then I'll end their suffering right now." The dark creatures scream and lunge to attack. Kei moves like a blur, slicing the monsters with energy strikes. He fights nimbly in the midst of the swarm of creatures. With a single movement, Kei destroys several monsters at the same time. He continues to fight, dodging and counterattacking with ease. Kei annihilates the remaining monsters, which dissolve into a pool of blood. He comments with a smile, "Piece of cake." Sitting among the remains, he says to himself, I'm starting to remember the old feeling. The monster's blood crystallizes, forming a red and black scorpion tail. Kei observes the crystallization and thinks, quite a bit has accumulated. He continues his analysis. Absorption will take time, but... Kei suddenly senses a new presence. His gaze turns to the exit, feeling that something is wrong. He looks at the top of a pile of rubble and realizes there was still one left. A monstrous soldier with red energy stares at him. Kei mocks, so you're the king of this place, doesn't seem like much. The enemy splits into 3 identical copies. Kei smiles predatorily. He launches into the attack, declaring, I'm going to get that ability. Kei advances at high speed to attack. One of the clones is thrown back and Kei wonders, Kei moves nimbly between the clones, dodging and attacking. He faces the clones guarding the exit and calls out to them, Hey, hey. Kei provokes them, to think you'd ignore me. He moves like a blur, instantly appearing in front of the leader. Kei analyzes the situation, thinking, even though I am. He looks at the exit door behind the enemies. Kei concludes their plan, guarding the exit, is that it? With a smile he decides, in that case. Kei launches into a swift attack against the leader. His eyes gleam intensely during the attack. Kei fights against the 3 clones simultaneously, dodging their energy blades. One of the blades grazes his face. He bends backward in an impossible move to dodge the blow, thinking, fast. Kei surprises the leader by reappearing behind him, who reacts in shock. What? He cuts off the leader's right arm with a swift movement. Kei launches an energy weapon against the other clones. Hit in the arm, Kei recognizes the enemy's speed and thinks, I got him. He assesses the fight. It seems a bit difficult, but... The leader of the clones ignores the injury, declaring, it's just an arm. Kei releases a shockwave that repels the remaining clones. The battle continues in a whirlwind of blows and dodges. Kei is hit from behind, and his blood splatters. He continues to fight, even wounded. A red energy blade pierces his shoulder. Kei displays a wild, toothy grin, unfazed. He grabs the arm of one of the clones. Kei advances for a new attack. The leader concentrates energy for a final blow, shouting, I'll pay you back for this. Kei intercepts the attack, grabbing the leader's fist. The clash of powers generates a huge explosion. After the explosion, the wreckage of a clone is scattered on the ground. Kei emerges from the rubble holding the severed arm of a clone and says, HMPH, now we're even. He stares at the 2 remaining clones, who prepare for the fight. Kei flexes his injured arm and thinks, well, the arm will go back to normal, but... The 2 clones stare at him in silence. The battle resumes with a furious exchange of blows. Kei is hit and realizes, surprised, the power has increased more than before. He deduces the enemy's strategy. He's sharing power between the clones. So, the fewer there are, the stronger the original must become. Kei clicks his tongue, thinking, TSC, what a troublesome enemy. In that case, I'll attack both bodies at the same time. He advances to attack one of the clones. With a spin, Kei delivers a blow that hits both clones simultaneously. While fighting, Kei has an epiphany about his form. He begins to release a large amount of dark energy in a vortex. He thinks the shadow I obtained still has room for research. Kei continues his reasoning. I've always been used to fighting in this form. A wide, monstrous smile, full of sharp teeth, forms on his face. Kei resumes the attack against the clones. He concludes his thought, and there was no need to stick to the human form. Kei releases his energy as shadow tentacles and declares, I'll finish you off in an instant. His shadow transforms into a monstrous entity with multiple eyes and mouths. The tentacles of darkness advance and envelop the last clone. The clone is annihilated in a spray of blood. Kei returns to his form, now with dark appendages on his back, and approaches the leader's body. He wonders aloud, do the dead clones automatically return to the main body? He notices an identification tag on the neck of the fallen enemy. Upon reading the tag, he identifies the name, Barton. Kay is shocked by the discovery. Those guys, don't tell me they sent squad members here. Kay examines the crystallized scorpion tail he obtained from the defeated monster. He reacts surprised. Kay analyzes the red crystal core, absorbing its power. He holds the crystal and is shocked to realize, this form, that monster was 5th class. Kay continues to reflect on the power of the monster he just defeated. He thinks worried, I have a 5th class monster at this stage. Kay looks at a vision of destruction and concludes his thought, has the apocalypse already begun? Remembering a woman, he decides, the red dust will erupt. I have to find that woman quickly or she will be in danger too. Kay turns to leave the battle site. He arrives at a large metal door with the sign exit. Kay hears footsteps approaching from the other side of the door. Kay hides as a young woman runs past the door. He thinks, don't move. 2 guards appear and order the young woman, move and I'll shoot. The young woman turns to the guards and says, wait a second. She smiles and teases, at least let me take off my clothes, okay? She takes off her coat, complaining, it's too hot, I can't stand it. The young woman looks around, confused by the environment that looks like a junkyard. She shouts, annoyed, why does this place look like a junkyard? Return my room to what it was. A guard approaches her and orders, come with us. The young woman gestures for them to stop. She declares her authority, don't you know where this is? This is Hot Sama's territory. A burst of bluish energy erupts from the ground. The guards are thrown away by the shockwave. Floating in the air with a biomechanical tail, she says, this is a problem, because of these bad people. She looks forward with determination. Seeing an army of small robotic creatures, she decides, time to clean up. The robotic creatures advance towards her. She uses her tail like a scythe to slice the robots that attack her. Her tail cuts one of the robots with precision. She impales another robot with the tip of her tail. The last remaining robot is on the ground. A blue shockwave coming from Kay disintegrates the last robot. Kay emerges from the shadows, revealing his own tail and staring at the woman. Hot dives from above to attack Kay with green energy. Kay dodges the blow, which opens a crater in the ground. Amidst the dust, Hot launches into a new attack. Kay blocks Hot's kick, and the impact generates a shockwave. Hot shouts furiously, you're the one who destroyed my castle. Kay smiles and provokes, Hot, I never thought you were so strong. She replies with disdain, this is nothing. Kay releases his power, causing shadow tentacles to sprout from the ground. A large explosion of green and black energy occurs. In a flashback, scorpion-shaped security robots are destroyed. In the flashback, Hot observes the smoke and rubble of her hideout. An energy cannon fires a blue beam. Blue energy blades destroy Hot's defenses, who reacts in shock. A mechanical claw captures her. She falls to the ground, defeated. She looks up scared. Kay emerges from the smoke and says, hey, I was wrong not to deliver the supermarket supplies, but this is an exaggeration. Hot asks shocked, what, don't tell me you're Kay. A voice confirms, bingo tilde. Kay appears instantly behind her and she thinks, fast. He immobilizes her from behind and says, got you Hot. Embarrassed and breathless, she whispers, hey, give me a break tilde. Kay releases her with a burst of blue energy. Hot moves away from him hastily. She glares at him angrily and thinks, who is this guy? What a dangerous bastard. Back to the present, Kay asks, is this your base? She replies, that's right. He smiles and asks, is there any way? Kay thinks it's strange that a hacker's base has been cleaned up so completely. Hot thinks annoyed, Tusk, isn't this guy leaving? Hot sits down exhausted amidst the wreckage of her robots. She complains, I can't even get into the lab. Kay reflects on his tail absorbing power. An illustration shows the absorption time of 30 seconds to 1 minute. He concludes, it seems to be absorbing energy and extending the activation time of my ability. Hanging from the ceiling by his tail, Kay decides, I'm going to keep my abilities a secret for a while. Hot wipes her face determined. Kay and Hot stare at each other in the cave. Hot's hideout is a room full of computers and equipment. Hot murmurs in this last year. She types furiously, shouting, I destroyed the place. She presses the enter key forcefully, starting her search. Near an exit gate, Lion watches a figure approach. The figure is revealed as Anya-san, a white-haired woman with sunglasses. Anya-san asks, looks like you've fallen into a troublesome trap. Lion replies, Anya-san, I don't have time to talk to you. She teases him, oh, with such a pleasant face you're quite impatient, aren't you? She reveals a golden stiletto and says, in that case. Lion draws his gun in reaction, shouting, what? Anya-san advances and attacks him with impressive speed. With one strike, she ejects the ammunition clip from his gun. She stabs him in the forearm. He thinks, shocked, this woman, she's strong. He shouts in pain, damn. He tries to grab her wrist, but the stiletto remains embedded. Lion fires a beam of purple energy to force her back. Anya-san dodges and lands gracefully. He clutches his wounded arm, which bleeds profusely. Anya-san watches him and comments, you're now afraid of even this small wound. The blood continues to gush from the wound. She concludes, quite troublesome for a soldier. He questions her, distressed, what are you thinking? He insists, what are you really plotting? She replies, don't be so tense, I've come to sell you the organization's product. She presents a syringe with a bright blue liquid. He asks, special medicine. In an instant she approaches him. Behind her glasses, her eye reveals a hypnotic pattern and begins to glow. Waves of mental energy envelop him. Confused under her power, he can only think. He is forced to see visions of monsters and combat. The visions show soldiers being massacred by dark creatures. Struck by the visions, he falls to his knees, panting. He asks, frightened, what was that just now? Looking up, he asks, what do you want from me? Anya-san smiles and says, you are destined to receive my gift. Lion holds the syringe and begins to laugh uncontrollably. With a crazed expression, he prepares to inject the liquid. Watching the recording, Kay orders, woman, zoom in on her face. Hot focuses on the computer, following the order. Kay recognizes the woman on the screen and the tarot cards associated with her, exclaiming, that woman, she's from the upper echelons of the organization. He notices a crucial detail and concludes, the pattern in that woman's eyes, it's the Wheel of Fortune, so it was this woman. Hot reacts with surprise and discomfort to what he sees. While Kay watches the screen, Hot thinks, but who is this woman? I've never seen her before. Hot is shocked to process the information on the screen, thinking, to think that Lion was a traitor to the army. Kay smiles darkly next to Hot, absorbing the new information. Hot turns back to the screen, continuing the analysis. In the recording, Anya-san says to Lion, you noticed the injustice of fate, didn't you? I will prepare a stage of revenge for you. Anya-san proposes a location and Lion accepts with a smile. Ah, I'm looking forward to it. The recording shows a laboratory with prisoners in a cage. A soldier confronts Lion, asking, Lion, are you going to use this for experiments too? An assistant warns Lion, if the master finds out what you're doing, you'll definitely get a scolding. Lion replies, that may be true. He continues confidently, but if it goes well, it will never be discovered. Lion throws a red energy core into the prisoner's cage. The core explodes, turning the men into monsters. One of them shouts, what the hell? The new monsters attack the remaining soldiers. A soldier is injured in the midst of the chaos. A close-up shows the red eye of one of the monsters. The creatures kill each other and transform into a scene of horror. A soldier falls to his knees, agonizing with the transformation. With his face crystallizing in red, he shouts the name of his traitor, Lalon. Lion approaches the transforming soldier and asks what he plans. Lion mocks him, "Are you a special type too, but you're still far from ready." Lion offers the soldier the red dust baptism. The agonizing soldier recalls that they grew up together as companions in the same orphanage and fought side by side. The soldier's memory merges with K's, who thinks, "Without leaving me the slightest chance to live." Lion says that the soldier's turn to suffer the mutation will come. Two monstrous creatures jump to attack Lion. Lion destroys them with a burst of green energy. He wipes the green blood from his face and complains, "So dirty." Lion turns to the security camera. In another location, scientists flee from blue slime monsters, shouting, "Stop." Lion watches the slime creatures consume the scientists. The transformed soldier tries to contain one of the slime creatures. Lion curses the situation as the monsters continue the attack. The transformed soldier shouts to Lion, "Lion, don't let these things out." Lion coldly replies that there are many innocent people out there. He grabs two of the slime creatures. Lion throws the creatures out of the laboratory. He closes the gate and smiles, saying, "The real fun is just beginning." In a flashback, Zio-En thinks about the people she needs to protect, concluding that the situation will become irreversible. Lion, wearing a red helmet, swears, "I will protect this place and will not let anyone escape." With his sword, he delivers a powerful blow against a dark structure. A soldier flees through a door with the sign "Exit." Lion defeats a monster which Zio-En recognizes, Barton. Shocked, Zio-En asks, "What happened?" She sees a pile of bodies and confronts Lion, "Hey, don't tell me you did this." An injured companion on the ground shouts to Zio-En, "Go get help." She runs to get help. While running, she is suddenly impaled from behind. Lion is revealed as the traitor. She screams in pain, "Gyuha." He throws her aside with a blow from his sword. Lion remembers her words, "Lion, you mustn't go." Fallen, she wonders, what the hell is going on? He approaches her body. Her body is thrown into an abyss. Back in the present, Hot complains at her computer, "I can't get any information." Kay watches her and thinks, Hot doesn't seem to know much about the organization yet. Kay thinks about the monster that creates the red dust, the one that killed him in his previous life, and whether the organization is containing it. He concludes, then the Snow Wolf Squad would have a good reason to take down the organization. In his baby form, Kay realizes he hasn't eaten anything yet. Hot calls Kay's attention. Kay appears behind her and teases her, "Is the work of the intelligent Hot Sama already finished?" She replies, frustrated, "No way, the camera is broken." A shadow tentacle from Kay wraps around her neck. He pushes her down, hovering over her. Scared, she pleads, "Wait a minute." He smiles and continues the threat, "Then you are no longer needed." Hot closes her eyes, expecting the worst. Suddenly, a strong blow hits Kay. The impact throws him away. Hot shouts, "Stop it." A military boot steps on Kay, pinning him to the ground. General Chen, she reveals himself as the aggressor. Kay and the general recognize each other. Kay starts to speak, but the general interrupts him, "Why are you here?" Hot, surprised, asks, "You know each other?" From the ground, Kay points to the general and asks Hot, "Huh, Grandpa?" The three stare at each other, creating a tense impasse. Kay and General Chen, she agree that Lion is the common enemy. Kay asks what the plan is. Hot interrupts, declaring that it's time to eat first. Chen, she agrees and tells Kay to eat. Chen, she hands Kay a milk box, saying that's all he can eat now. Hot laughs at Kay, calling him a brat for drinking milk. Chen, she asks Kay if they should tell Hot the truth. Chen, she decides to trust Kay, saying, "It's a partner's sincerity, I'll cooperate." Confused, Hot asks what they are talking about. Kay agrees to reveal his secret, saying, "Very well." With a swirl of energy, Kay reverts to his true form, a baby. Hot is completely shocked, dropping her drink. She stutters in disbelief. What is this? You were a child. She approaches, incredulous, and starts pulling Kay's cheeks. Kay complains for her to stop. Hot complains to the general, holding Kay upside down, saying that he and Lion are bothering her. Kay reflects that, being in a baby's body, the others now underestimate him. He thinks that even with SSS-class abilities, his baby body limits his power. Kay decides to keep his reincarnation a secret and will only reveal everything when he plays his final card. Kay asks Chenshi what the next step is. Chenshi gets up to explain the situation. He reveals that the Snow Wolf Squad, the strongest unit, has already been defeated by Lion. Chenshi adds that Lion has the support of the organization and the captured children are scattered. He concludes that a frontal invasion is difficult and that they need a collaborator. Chenshi asks Hot to use her robots to transmit false images to the security cameras. Hot replies confidently, "Don't underestimate my skills, okay?" Her spider robots spread throughout the base. The robots project an image of an empty cave to deceive surveillance. Hot warns that she will charge at least 100 million yen for the service. Realizing the danger, Chenshi grabs Hot by the collar and says they can't stay there any longer. He runs towards the exit, dragging Hot with him. Chenshi asks if he can leave the rescue of the children to Kay. Kay, in his baby form, agrees that he will solve the problem he caused. Kay uses his power to transform back into his adult shadow form. Holding his baby form, Kay promises to free the children and tells the general to take care of the rest. As he leaves, Chenshi replies, "That's my line." With a sinister smile, Kay says, "If this works, your death is near, Lion." A reptilian monster attacks, causing the children to scream in terror. Kay, in his shadow form, observes the scene from a high point, while a scorpion robot approaches. In his baby form, Kay hides behind debris, assessing the situation. The monster lunges to devour a child who screams, "No." The monster screams in pain as it is struck by an unknown power and begins to disintegrate. Zio-En, with his red eyes glowing, extends his hand towards the monster. Kay watches the scene from above, looking worried. He sees the children running from the monster and wonders, who do we get first? Someone questions the transparent child who is acting up. Zio-En refuses to be saved, saying, "That one won't do. I want them to protect the other children here." Kay decides to intervene, thinking, if that's the case. He releases a wave of blue energy to rescue the children. The energy blast throws the children away from danger. In the midst of the chaos, a scorpion robot captures one of the children with its tail. In the control room, a guard gets scared and reports, "The test subjects have fallen." An operator watches the base's monitors. Kay uses his shadow tentacles to gather and protect the rescued children. Kay peeks over cover, monitoring the situation. He suddenly turns around, sweating and shouting, "Who are you?" In another room, red spheres, the battery children, scream inside a cage while being electrocuted. A pink-haired man laughs sadistically while torturing them. He continues to electrocute the spheres that scream in pain. Lion approaches and tells the man to make less noise. Their voices are reaching outside. The pink-haired man confronts him. "Is that how you talk to your master?" Lion is intimidated by the man's aura of power. The pressure of the aura forces Lion to kneel. Lion bows and apologizes. "My tone was disrespectful." Anya-san appears from behind the pink-haired man and hugs him tightly. He complains that her hug hurts. Anya-san squeezes even harder, making him scream in agony. She throws him to the side. Frustrated, he punches the cage, questioning if he is a lord. He shouts, frustrated, that his power is not enough, even after receiving the Crimson Blessing. Anya-san turns to question Lion. Lion, sweating, explains that it is still in the experimental phase. Anya-san reflects on them, creating new mutants as pawns on the eve of the apocalypse. Zio-en, with red eyes glowing, confronts Kei and demands to know, "What is your objective?" She attacks him with a powerful blast of energy. The energy attack advances towards Kei. Thrown back by the explosion, Kei complains, "Tusk," one after another. Kei recomposes himself amidst the wreckage. With a confident smile, Kei stares at her. He identifies her, "You're Zio-en, right?" Kei comments that she not only survived Lion's attack, but also became a skill user, but it came at a price. Kei suggests they go back. Zio-en refuses, stating that sacrifices are inevitable and that Captain Lion has his own circumstances. Kei reprimands her, pointing to the frightened children. "Do you call throwing children into a dump like this circumstances?" Kei's words shake Zio-en's conviction. Determined, she prepares to attack again. Zio-en attacks, shouting, "I can't go against those orders." Kei concludes that she has been brainwashed and decides that talking won't work. He summons a huge shadow entity and declares, "I'll beat you until you understand." At the moment of the attack, a spider robot on the ground emits a light. A hologram of General Chen she appears and questions Lion's authority. Shocked, Zio-en calls him chief. General Chen, she orders her to help Kei take the children to a safe place, reminding her that cruelty cannot be justified. Zio-en accepts the order and salutes, "Yes, sir." In a corridor, 3 organization soldiers complain about the mission to capture the children. One of the soldiers, blonde, sees the task as a chance to test his new powers. The group prepares for combat. Suddenly they stop, surprised by something approaching quickly. The 3 are violently thrown aside. A boat made of shadows, piloted by Kei and carrying the children, passes them at high speed. While Kei enjoys piloting, Zio-en complains, "Don't give orders on your own." The children on the boat are sick with the speed and movement. The organization soldiers look perplexed at the shadow boat fleeing. Kei looks back with disdain and dismisses them. Just small fry, not worth dealing with them." An explosion sends dust and debris over the organization's soldiers. The shockwave from the explosion throws the soldiers violently away. One of the soldiers, injured and angry, shouts, "Brat." He reports the chaotic situation over the communicator. Chaos ensues at the base, with guards shouting that the specimens are out of control. Kei, in his baby form, complains about the excessive noise. At her base, Hot reacts with frustration to the situation. She observes a tactical map and informs Kei, "Everyone is going to your location right now." She sighs, complaining that Kei planned to use her to clean up his mess anyway. Despite the complaint, Hot decides to help and activates her mechanical arms, saying, "I'll lend a hand." She starts typing frantically with multiple arms, shouting, "Four-handed barrage attack." The soldiers at the base continue the chase. The security soldiers shout orders to pursue the fugitives. "This way, pursue." The base's defense system is activated and begins firing on its own soldiers, who scream in panic. The soldiers in pursuit are ambushed. Hidden, the guards warn that the enemies are coming, while a spider robot watches the corridor. Kei is surprised to see a large orange insectoid robot. On Hot's monitor, the enemies appear disoriented, moving in confusing patterns. Kei observes the guards' confusion and says, satisfied, "Good." Hot informs Kei that she is not controlling the robots and that it seems someone else has arrived. Kei sees Lion's elite forces at the end of the corridor, and Hot warns him to be careful. Lion's elite forces prepare for combat. The elite squad leader proposes a competition to see which side can kill the most. The blonde soldier replies that if they win, he wants a plate of meat. The other members agree, one of them declaring, "The winner takes it all." The elite squad opens fire on Kei's group. Zio-en reacts with panic to the attack. An ice wall rises from the ground, blocking the barrage of shots. The bullets ricochet off the frozen surface. A stray bullet flies towards a child, but is stopped by a small water vortex. Kei observes the scene, noting their firepower is strong. He decides that he can't stay trapped there, and that he needs to transform to act. Suddenly Kei turns around, sensing a new threat approaching. The elite squad continues the attack, beginning to break the ice wall. Kei transforms his arms into blades but realizes he won't be fast enough. Damn, I won't make it in time. A bullet flies directly towards Kei's face. Suddenly, one of the allied soldiers is impaled in the head by an ice spike. Several ice spikes erupt from the ground, impaling other soldiers. Shocked, the elite squad leader exclaims, "No way." He dodges a large ice blade, shouting, "Damn." A new combatant with blue hair appears on the battlefield. The blue-haired man eliminates the remaining elite soldiers with his ice powers. Kei Zion and the blue-haired man observe the outcome of the battle. Kei murmurs, "Huh." With a smile, Kei identifies the new allies' abilities: magnetic manipulation and freezing abilities. On the central platform of the base elevator, an ice projectile slams into the ground. In an energy-powered wooden boat, Kei and the children ride at high speeds, screaming. One of the children shouts to increase the suction power, while Kei struggles to keep the boat stable. The boat swerves to avoid multiple ice spikes coming from below. The boat lands abruptly on the elevator platform. Kei looks at the central elevator structure and asks, "Is this it?" Zion confirms that it is. Zion explains that the elevator leads to the base exit, but the processing area is below. She asks Kei what the next step is. Kei smiles slyly, beginning to talk about his plan. One of the rescued children interrupts him, touching his shoulder. She offers Kei a medallion with a green gem. The girl thanks Kei for saving her, calling him Big Brother. Kei remembers a past moment, reacting with surprise. He thinks it's been a while since he heard a thank you and feels a little embarrassed. Suddenly, a loud sound startles Kei and the children. Lion lands on the platform, looking surprised to find them there. Zion prepares to fight, but Lion reassures her, saying he only came to deliver a message. Lion announces that their graduation ceremony has been moved forward. A spider robot on Kei's shoulder serves as a communicator. In his hideout, Hot panics, questioning how they were found despite his countermeasures. A man explains that, while Hot's skills are excellent, there is something that cannot be blocked. A flashback of the Calamity Egg inside a cage is shown. The Calamity Egg emits a signal that is detected by a base operator. In the flashback, Lion reports that the Calamity Egg is resonating. Anya-san asks Lion if there were any interesting rats among the escapees. Back in the present, Lion smiles and says that the Calamity Egg does not accept company, which is why he is also cautious. Kei asks what the Calamity Egg is and realizes that the path behind them has been blocked by soldiers. Lion cuts his own hand with a knife. With a maniacal smile, Lion says that since they are going to die, there is no need for explanations. Kei prepares to fight, releasing his shadow tentacles. A large door opens, revealing the arrival of General Chen Shi and his soldiers. General Chen Shi and the Iron Wolf squad arrive to confront Lion. Lion calls Chen Shi master, but the general accuses him of betraying the unit. Chen Shi declares that Lion is a traitor who planned to kill his comrades. The general furiously orders Lion to drop his weapon. One of Chen Shi's soldiers questions whether Lieutenant Lion is really a traitor. The soldier's body begins to swell with grotesque red blisters. The soldier screams in pain, begging Lion to save him. The soldier explodes in a shower of blood. Lion asks with a cold smile if anyone else there considers him a traitor. Horrified, Chen Shi asks Lion if he implanted blood bombs in all of his subordinates. Chen Shi watches in panic as the rest of his soldiers, with red blindfolds on their eyes, fall to the ground. Lion attacks General Chen Shi, who defends himself. Lion says goodbye, farewell master. However, Chen Shi blocks the blow to Lion's surprise. Lion praises Chen Shi's reaction speed for his age. In the distance, Kei observes and analyzes the fight. Kei thinks about Lion's blade, noting that it resonates the moment it touches the skin, and concludes that it uses high-frequency waves to destroy body tissues from the inside, allowing it to kill with a single blow. He continues his analysis, thinking that even an old man's staff could block the blade since it has no edge. Kei finishes his thought, understanding that if the blade cuts the flesh, the body disintegrates like tofu. Chen Shi dodges another attack from Lion. Lion turns to the remaining soldiers of the Iron Wolf squad. He offers the soldiers a choice: if you don't want to be purged, then side with me. The soldiers remain firm in their position. Defying the order, the soldiers open fire on Lion. Chen Shi is surprised by the loyalty of his men. With superhuman speed, Lion decapitates one of the soldiers who shot. Lion now wields a new weapon, a black spear. He taunts Chen Shi, as expected of a clever tactic master, but, in this situation, how will you avoid this? In a swift attack, Lion impales Chen Shi and another soldier at the same time. Chen Shi screams in pain. Gravely injured, Chen Shi falls to his knees. Lion smiles and says, "Maybe it's time for you to step aside." He turns to the others and warns, "Don't think anyone will escape." Lion asks menacingly, "So, who's next?" He stares at the children and Kei. Zio En positions himself in front of the children to protect them. With disdain, Kei asks if they think he is running away. Lion is shocked to realize that the body he hit was a substitute that dissolves into red liquid. "What?" he reacts. Annoyed, he thinks, no wonder the feeling when cutting was different. Kei comments that controlling multiple substitutes at the same time is exhausting. Hot's voice echoes through the base, "Hello Tilda, this exoskeleton armor was designed by me." She complains that she had no operating rights because the military chiefs are too stubborn. Robotic combat units descend from the ceiling. Chen Shi, who everyone thought was defeated, emerges inside a powerful combat exoskeleton. Kei and Chen Shi exchange a look, confirming their plan. A flashback shows a previous meeting between Kei and Chen Shi in a warehouse. In the past, Kei asks Chen Shi, as a military veteran, are there still unused equipment? Chen Shi confirms that there are, but their use requires military approval, especially if it is against their own comrades. Kei smiles and asks, "Isn't it the perfect opportunity?" Chen Shi agrees, it is. Back in the present, multiple red laser sights lock onto Lion. Lion is shocked and furious at the sudden turn of events. The eyes of Chen Shi's exoskeleton glow and a voice system asks, "Initiate operation." Lion faces the laser sights surrounding him. Inside his armor, Chen Shi orders, "Lion, surrender." Lion smiles and says, "Professor." He continues, surprised, "I think you would bring stored equipment." With a mocking smile, he taunts, "You don't know who will win, do you?" Lion shouts to his allies, "Get down." Lion's soldiers open fire on Chen Shi's troops. A green-hooded soldier dodges an energy shot. Several of Chen Shi's soldiers are impaled and killed by a surprise attack. Lion uses his purple energy to deflect bullets. Lion receives a cut on his face, but remains defiant. He grits his teeth, feeling the pressure of combat. A massive shockwave sweeps across the battlefield. Lion's troops continue the attack. A smoke projectile is fired into the chaos. Inside the armor, Chen Shi orders, "Thermal." The armor responds activated as Chen Shi prepares his main weapon. The thermal sight locks onto the target, Lion. Chen Shi's armor fires a powerful red energy beam. Wounded, Lion blocks the beam with his sword, which is enveloped in purple energy. Lion struggles to contain the power of the attack. Lion recovers from the attack, still surrounded by his aura of power. He extends his bloodied hand in a gesture of defiance. Lion smiles victoriously as he sees Chen Shi's surprised reaction. In the distance, Kei observes the turn of events with shock and concern. In his baby form, K shouts to the soldiers, "Shoot more." A soldier of Lion shoots at the enemy. Lion is caught by blood tentacles that sprout from the bodies on the ground and says, "It's too late." The blood tentacles pierce the bodies of the fallen soldiers. With a crazed look, Lion unleashes a new wave of power from the blood. The bodies of the dead soldiers transform into grotesque monsters. Lion's soldiers watch the transformation. Chenshi orders his men, "Fire, break formation." His troops open fire on the newly created horde of monsters. The monsters advance under the rain of gunfire. A giant monster attacks the children, who scream in terror. A young man with red eyes launches an energy attack that hits skeletal figures. A white monster screams, releasing a massive shockwave that hits the children. The young man with red eyes comments on the fight, "Their strength is intense." A girl cries in despair, "I was sure we would win, how did it come to this?" A boy resolves that he needs to take everyone to a safe place so he can help the old man. A young man wields 2 daggers wrapped in dark energy, ready to fight. Fighting alongside an old swordsman against 2 monsters, Lion says, "Master, it's been a while since we've been in a fight." He smiles and completes the sentence, "And it's a fight to the death." A robotic figure observes the scene in silence. The armored figure says, "Pathetic," while someone calls Lion's name. Watching the battle from afar, a purple-haired man asks, "You're putting on a good show, why don't you let me participate?" A hooded figure orders his men to annihilate the enemy quickly, without underestimating them. His masked subordinate replies, "Understood." The masked warrior dodges an attack from a multi-armed monster. He counterattacks and stabs the monster, which begins to explode. The monster explodes a second time, injuring and throwing the warrior backward. Tentacles of blue energy emerge from the monster's remains and trap the warrior. The energy tentacles close around the warrior's head. The warrior releases his own energy, undoing the tentacles and destroying the monster. The warrior's blow causes the monster to explode from the inside out with beams of light. The masked warrior stands over the remains of the defeated monster. A hand snaps its fingers, activating a power. A spiky monster screams in pain as it is crushed by purple energy. The masked warrior is hit by a blast of purple energy and screams in pain. Lion lands on an energy platform and says, "Commanding the battle." He floats in the middle of the chaos and concludes, as about seeing it through to the end. The armored warrior watches Lion with apprehension. Lion screams as he is hit by a surprise attack from the armored warrior. A dark energy in the shape of a cobra attacks Chenshi in his armor. Lion thinks the armor can only be broken with a blood crystal from a corpse. Inside the helmet, Chenshi activates the electromagnetic pulse at maximum power. Lion is shocked to see a sphere of yellow energy expand, repelling his attack. The energy pulse dissipates the dark attack. Annoyed, Lion wonders how the armor still has this function. Chenshi aims his weapon at Lion, who is in the air. Chenshi says that Lion cannot change position in the air, forcing him to dodge. Lion lands and asks disdainfully, "So, are you going to let me go?" The energy beam hits the hooded master, who is pierced by black threads and falls bleeding. Chenshi is shocked to realize that the attack hit his ally. Lion dodges another shot from Chenshi. While Chenshi is distracted, Lion attacks and injures the hooded master. Lion smiles, thinking that luck is on his side. Lion advances with his purple energy blade. Chenshi prepares for hand-to-hand combat. Chenshi's arm transforms into a blue energy blade, and he attacks. Chenshi's blow cuts through the air, missing Lion. Lion falls wounded, staring at Chenshi. Chenshi approaches for the final blow and says, "Lion, this is the end." Lion smiles, revealing that the fall was a trap. A crystal in Chenshi's weapon explodes, surprising him. The explosion is contained by thorns of dark energy. Lion is thrown back by the smoke. He holds a purple energy crystal and says, "I knew it." On gets up and explains his plan. I had to show a decisive opening to attract the master. With a smile, he continues, and I knew he wouldn't fall for it. He turns to the fallen hooded master and asks, "Isn't that right?" The hooded master looks up, shocked by the betrayal. From afar, Kay complains, "Is this armor just for show? Can it handle a situation like this?" In her control room, Hot replies, "We're just getting started." Hot's screen shows that the enemy data analysis is complete. With a confident smile, she says, "Based on this data, I have developed the most ideal strategy." She presses a button and orders, "Go-my lovely GIRLS." A large mechanical structure descends from the ceiling of the battlefield. A swarm of insectoid robots with red eyes advances into combat.